Personally speaking, I'm really excited about this anime, and this anime is definitely one of my most anticipated shows of this season. And the reason is very simple. The producer. Look at the producer name, it's Kyoto Animation, and as I mentioned before, Kyoto Animation is my favorite anime studio in Japan because the animation quality and the animation style of Kyoto Animation is easily the best in the industry. Kyoto Animation can animate everything and can do it well. Personally, I think the animation quality and the animation style of Kyoto Animation is the best representation of Japanese anime. When I first took a look at the staff list of this anime, Hibike Euphonium, I have a feeling that this staff list is glowing. For the director, we have our old friend Ishihara Tatsuya, who is the director of many well-known KyoAni animes. For example, Air, Canon, Clannad, Suzumiya Haruhi, Nichijou, and Chunibyo. And this time, he also has a very well-experienced crew to help him. And all these people, they are workers who have worked at Kyoto Animation for many years. But at the same time, it is inevitable that some of you will compare this anime with another famous KyoAni anime. Yes, it's K-On! And that anime, when it was aired in 2009, it was a huge success. It actually generated a cultural phenomenon. So many high school girls, they picked up their instruments and formed their own light music clubs simply because they watched that anime. This is how successful K-On! Was at that time. And when you compare these two anime, I have to admit, there are a lot of similarities between the two. If you make a poster for both of them, you will find out that actually these two posters look exactly the same. The only difference will be that the characters in K-On! They have guitars and drums, and the characters in Hibike, they have strings and pipes. Personally, I prefer rock band than orchestra, but I know the situation may be exactly the opposite for many of you guys. So I will let you be the judge. But anyway, I do believe that Hibike has the potential to become a very successful anime, and for me, everything comes from KyoAni simply becomes a must-watch anime.
東月茶寮料理学園卒業到達率 10% 以下世界に名だたる料理人を生み出し続ける美食の殿堂そこにはある一つの掟があったすなわち食撃それは料理を矛とし盾とする壮絶なる戦い
料理ってのはうまさもまずさも数限りなく点在する荒野その地平の彼方まで俺は歩いていきたいと思ってる
私の舌をうならせた者に編入を許可します絶対私がステイシー一等賞だよもうやだ
肉の快感を教えてやる
若き料理人たちが今技巧と美学の限りを尽くし火花を散らす
この私の舌に似合う料理を作るつもりがあるのかって聞いてるのよ
楽しみにしてなあんたの口からはっきりとうまいって言わせてやるよ俺の料理の限りを尽くして
体が反応しちゃ
うお粗末直撃の相馬お上がりよ
Wow, did you see that bikini butcher? I was immediately hooked by her, and she was the reason why I decided to watch this show. Well, I don't know about you, but personally, I really enjoy watching food anime, especially when I am hungry. Just don't watch this show at midnight because you may rush to your nearest convenience store and grab everything on the shelves. So don't do that. And for some of you, if you're about to say this shonen anime is the best shonen anime ever, I can promise that you have probably watched less than 3 shonen anime. That's commonly what happens. But this anime is still good. And I don't really care what you guys call this anime. Kirito's cooking journey or just food porn. Well, actually this is a bit of the exaggeration. It has nothing to do with porn, but it indeed has some fan service. But yeah, fan service. Best kind of service. Anyway, let's get serious. Our main character is about to attend the hardest cooking school in Japan, and this school only has a graduation rate of less than 1%. So I wonder how this school will actually advertise themselves. Hello, welcome to our school. Our school only has a graduation rate of less than 1%. Well, I don't think anyone is going to come. So yeah, lots of flying food and lots of, boys and girls. Let's continue.
無限大な夢の後の何もない世の中じゃそうさ愛しい思いも負けそうになるけど静しかしないイメージだらけの頼りない翼でもきっと飛べるさ Oh yeah 無限大な夢の後のやるせない世の中じゃそうさ常識外れも悪くはないから清楚なイメージを染めたぎこちない翼でもきっと飛べるぜ Oh my love
Well, I know for many of you, this show, Digimon Adventure 3, is a must-watch for this season because I know for many of you, this show is like a childhood memory, a childhood friend. So in 1999, Digimon Adventure, the original Digimon Adventure, the show that started this franchise, aired in Japan, and its popularity soon spread around the world. From North America to Europe to Southeast Asia, many countries broadcast this show, and many people watched it. And this show, at that time, this show was really good. I mean, as a show for kids, it did a really great job, and it was well received by many people. And I watched this show as well. I mean, 1999. Wow, 16 years ago. It sounds so far away. And at that time, this show was extremely popular because all the features that it has, the fightings, the friendship, the amazing Wonderland-like world, it was very fascinating to all of us. And I think at its climax, at the climax of Digimon phenomenon, the popularity of Digimon was actually comparable with Pokemon, another always popular Japanese franchise. But unfortunately, after a few years, the popularity of Digimon started to decline, and this decline was actually largely down to the company that produced this show, because the company failed to deliver some good enough games to support the franchise, and the sequels of Digimon franchise most of them were disappointing. I mean, starting from season 2, the anime quality of this show decreased rapidly, and actually in 2010, they aired the 6th season of Digimon, and it turned out so horrible that the producer Toei Animation announced that it would not make any more Digimon shows. But well, a few years later, apparently they have changed their mind. For some reasons, Toei Animation has changed its mind, and this year they are going to bring us the Digimon Adventure 3. But you don't necessarily need to take it as the 7th season of this franchise, because actually this new Digimon Adventure 3 has nothing to do with all the sequels of Digimon, because this is a direct sequel of the original one, the first Digimon Adventure. Well, this time the producer have actually moved the timeline forward for a few years, so our main character Taichi is now a 17-year-old high school student. I guess they did this because they do realize that now they have to target an older audience. So they are trying to make this show a shonen anime rather than a show for kids. Well, I guess this is a good thing, but I do have concerns about this new Digimon Adventure 3, because if you take a look at the staff list, you will find out one sad thing is that none of these staffs, they are the original staffs of the first season of Digimon. Even though the studio is still Toei Animation, but the staff list looks completely different. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Who knows? But I mean, take a look at the director. For the director, we have Motonaga Kentaro-san. I mean, Motonaga-san, he is also the director of Date Alive, and I think everybody knows that Date Alive is not best known for its plot. Can he do a better job this time? Well, we will see. But I will say I am cautiously optimistic about this show. I mean, we all want this show to shine again, but can this show shine again is another question. I guess we will see after the first episode. Well, for this anime, I'm not going to show you guys a promotional video simply because I was so pissed off by the character design of this anime. I mean, it's good to see a spin-off from the Haruhi universe, but I mean, what happened to the character designs? I mean, I don't find this Nagato very attracting, and what the heck happened to Haruhi's face? This is not what it's supposed to be. I cannot watch this show. Seriously, I just cannot find a word to describe the character design. I think it's completely messed up. So I'm not going to show you guys the promotional videos, and I will just pass this show.
殺し合いが得意な未来が生き残るわけか。
テキパキいきますね。お片付け開始。
未来を作るか。いい未来ができるといいな。
僕らの未来が、私たちの未来が消えてゆく。時計の針に怯えるなんて私らしくないよね。運命の足音が聞こえるかい？僕が世界をゼロへと戻す。
君たちの未来僕が弔う。こんなところで足踏みしている暇はないんだ。
お前は英雄じゃねえ。歴史を刻むのはこの俺だ。
兄貴どいて。障害は排除します。
血が燃えるぜ。
ハグ、ここからひっくり返すよ。
地獄へ送っちゃるばい。
この涙二度と流さね
え。一族の恥さらし。私が負けた。なんでこんなの嫌だよ。終わらせるよ。 お待たせしました。まだ生きてるの？
If you are the producer of an anime, what can you do to make a game adaptation anime that has only average level plot? Sounds very fascinating and attractive to anime fans. Okay, there is only one solution to this issue, and this solution is quite simple. Just put Urobuchigen's name at the beginning of the promotional video, and that solves everything. And this is exactly what is happening here. Gunslinger Stratos, the new A1 Pictures anime that is adapted from an action arcade game. This anime doesn't really have that amazing plot. I mean, it's a plot of a game, so some games do have great plots, for example, Fate series. But some games, well, their plot is only okay for the game. If you apply it onto an anime, it may seem a bit weak for an anime plot. A1 Picture simply uses this trick to put Urobuchigen-san's name at the beginning of the promotional video, and I believe many of you guys already know who he is, the scriptwriter who brought us Madoka Psychopaths and Fate Zero. I mean, he is a great guy, but his name has been abused by so many studios, especially A1 Pictures. I mean, after Psychopaths, I have been tricked so many times by his name, by so many studios. And I'm starting to get tired of it, especially last year when A1 Pictures, yes, A1 Picture again, and this is not the first time that A1 Picture used this trick to trick us. Last year, A1 Picture also put Urobuchi's name in the promotional video of their Noah Zero. I was hooked immediately by Urobuchi's name. It actually turned out that Urobuchi is only in charge of the basic idea of the anime. So the first 3 episodes of the anime turns out to be great, and after that it's just disastrous. Many scriptwriters at A1 Pictures, they want to copy Urobuchi-san's style because Urobuchi-san's style is very fascinating. I mean, everybody knows his style. Exciting, intensive, and all the characters have to die. But the unfortunate thing is that for A1 Pictures, they are only able to copy the last part. Plot is not interesting, not intensive, but all the characters have to die for no reasons. So I'm not very confident with these random A1 Pictures script writers this time, and I will say I'm quite suspicious about the quality of this anime as well. If I have time, I may attempt to watch this anime just for leisure, but if I don't have time, it's highly likely that I will just skip this show. So here are the previews of 3 animes that I am not going to watch this season, but I think some of you may want to watch. So here we have Baby Steps 2, Diamond no Ace 2, and Shidonia no Kishi. The first 2 are sports anime, so lucky for you sports guys, you guys still have something to watch this season. The reason why I'm not going to watch these 2 is simply because for tennis, I already watched Prince of Tennis, and for baseball, I already watched Touch, and these 2 were just so classical to me, and I just cannot watch another 2 fairly average sports anime in the upcoming season. And for the third one, for Shidonia no Kishi, I think there's nothing wrong with the anime plot, but the anime quality, especially the large amount of use of CGs on the characters, is just something unacceptable to me. I mean, I'm definitely not that type of old-fashioned guy who is always against any use of new technology. CG can be good in some circumstances. I mean, last year in Noah Zero, they used CG for their mechas, and actually their mechas looks really good. I guess the problem is that our CG technology is still not advanced enough, so when we apply it on human characters, we get this. A character that has noodle hair and flat face. It looks pretty weird, isn't it? This is why I cannot force myself to watch this kind of trash. If you really love mecha, go ahead and watch it. I'm not against it. Maybe in the future, when our CG technology gets better, I may try some CG anime that applies CG on their characters. Who knows?
大事だから失いたくないから隠して装ってだから誰もが嘘をつくけれどやはり俺の青春ラブコメは間違っている族もがきながら彼ら彼女らはそれでも本物を探し続ける
Okay, I can do this. Take a deep breath. やはり俺の青春ラブコメディは間違いが出る族 Oh yes, I just did it. I'm so proud of myself. Well, anyway, if you see a title this wordy, this long, it's probably a title of light novel. Because our light novel writers constantly wants to show off their wide range of vocabulary and their ability to write some very long and complicated sentence. Yeah, at least this is what I believe why they do this. But actually this title is quite a good fit for this anime, because this anime is actually a quite dialogue heavy anime. For most of the time, when you watch high school romance anime, you pretty much can leave your brain offline because you just don't need it. But for this anime, actually I find myself constantly have to pause to recall what the character just said and to digest the dialogue. Not because my language skill is that bad that I can't even interpret what they said, it's simply because their dialogues are quite insightful and quite interesting. This is kind of rare for high school romance, and actually this light novel and this anime delivers some deep meanings perfectly. If you're not into dialogue heavy, monologue heavy anime, this is probably not the show for you. But if you can bear with a lot of dialogues, a lot of monologues, and just watch 3 episodes, you will find yourself really into this show, and everything after that is just pure enjoyment. This is a season 2 because Zoku in Japanese means continued. I recommend you to pick up the season 1 first, so that you can understand the relationships between characters better. Another good news is that this season 2 actually has a new anime studio to do it. I think it's a good change because one of the largest drawbacks for season 1 is the inconsistency of anime quality. The character designs are good, but they're not always good because the anime quality is quite inconsistent. So I hope this new studio will do a better job. And actually from the promotional video, I actually find the anime quality quite promising. Finally, here comes the list of anime that I am not going to watch. But as I mentioned previously, different people make different choices in terms of watching anime. Anime that I left here still have the possibility of becoming your next favorite anime. I will just leave this list as a reference. Okay, thank you so much for watching my preview. I have to say a big thank you to all of you. See you next season.